All hell is breaking loose in Russia right now as Ukrainian ballistic missiles and drones are raining down on Russian cities, Moscow, St. Petersburg, Voronezh. The Voronezh semiconductor devices factory hit by a Ukrainian ballistic missile yesterday. This is one of the major semiconductor device plants that has been used for the manufacture of electronic components in Russia's critical weapons in this war against Ukraine. Let me show you what it looked like at the Voronezh semiconductor devices factory assembly in Voronezh as it was hit by a Ukrainian ballistic missile. Let's play this clip. More photos of this semiconductor factory right here, critical for the Russian war machine. More photos over here. I'll show you some B-roll so you can see for yourself what it looks like. I'll show you more B-roll of what it looks like in the Kerch Strait overhead view right here, where 5 of the 7 oil tanks located at the terminal in the Russian-occupied city of Kerch on the coast of the Crimean Peninsula, along with several assets in the Kerch Strait, were set ablaze following overnight drone strikes from Ukraine. Take a look right here at this drone attack on the Russian-occupied Crimea and Russia's Krasnodar region right here. You'll see this oil depot lighting up on fire. Let's play this clip.
Да, это цистерны, которые на этом, на ВТГ. С ВТГ видно прям.
Как она сейчас въебет?
Не, она не въебет.
Почему нет?
Ну, потому что.
Спокойно же, Никита, вообще. Сзади машина.
Они тоже приехали смотреть. Ого. Это жестко.
Now, air defenses are going up throughout Moscow and throughout Russia's major cities right here. And to do this, Russia needs to move out its air defenses from some of the front line areas right here. You'll see these air defense systems being installed in Moscow. Take a look right here as well. But these Ukrainian drones and missiles continue to successfully target Russian assets. I mean, Moscow is claiming that mostly all of the drones sent by Ukraine were able to be knocked out of the sky by Russia, but it does appear that the Dubna Space Communications Center, located about 120 kilometers north of Moscow, seems to be hit. Ukraine's general staff confirmed the strike, targeting the facilities with these UAV operators. Let me just show you a photo of what this Russian Space Communication Center in Dubna, Moscow looked like after it was attacked by the Ukrainian drones. And I'll show you this video right here. Let's play this clip. Now, all Moscow airports have been closed down due to drone attacks. You'll see some of the huge crowds as over 150 flights have been delayed or canceled. Let's play this. And you can see what life in Russia is beginning to look like right now with these fuel lines. We'll show this to you as well.
21 июня, Рязань. Бензина на заправках практически никаких нет, кроме Роснефти, и то очереди. Вот такие.
Now, while you have that taking place, You had Putin laying the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Moscow, a day marking 85 years since Germany's 1941 invasion of the Soviet Union. So literally, as you have the Ukraine strikes taking place, you have this going down in Moscow as well. I'll show you this clip right here.
And now let me interrupt for a minute with some huge news on climate. So the Trump administration just quietly waved the white flag on one of its biggest attacks on clean energy. You probably recall that on day one of his second term, one of the first things he did, Trump signed an executive order freezing all federal wind energy permits, offshore and onshore. Essentially, he was trying to kill the wind industry with the stroke of a pen. You know how Donald Trump speaks about wind all the time. Well, 17 states, led by New York, took him to court, and in December, a federal judge ruled against Trump, throwing out that permitting freeze, and the administration appealed. But here's the thing, they never actually submitted a brief defending their position. And in the beginning of June, when that deadline finally came, instead of fighting, Trump's own Department of Justice filed to dismiss the appeal. They gave up. Now I want to give a quick shout out to Emily Pontecorvo at Heatmap for this major scoop. So what does this mean in plain terms? Well, the door to federal wind permitting is now back open. Developers can move forward. Billions in clean energy investment that were in limbo can get back on track. This is a huge win for the climate, for clean energy jobs, and for the states that stood up and fought back. Huge, huge, huge news, folks. And I want to hear from you. What do you think about this story? What do you think about our climate coverage here in general? What do you think about the Trump administration's ongoing war on clean energy? Now is the time to sound off. Drop your comments right now below. I'll be reading every single one of them. Okay, Ben? Back to you.
Now I'm going to show you another video footage right here of Moscow so you can see for yourself what it looks like right now in the outer kind of Moscow area. Let's play this clip. All right, now we'll share this with you. This is the Kavkaz port burning in Russia. Let's play this clip right here. Now, President Zelenskyy of Ukraine posted the following message. This was a message regarding the Putin laying the wreath of the tomb of the unknown soldier. Zelenskyy writes, "Today, as every year on June 22nd, there will be a lot of grandstanding in Russia." Zelenskyy writes about World War II, about one of the bloodiest chapters. Nazi Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union, a time that for Ukraine has always been a reminder of the importance of peace and of paying tribute to the millions of innocent victims of World War II. This was the very period in the 20th century that should have forever changed the way every state and the world as a whole view human life, establishing life itself as the true highest value. There would have been no world wars if the leaders of that era had been guided by the value of human life rather than imperial delusions. By the way, he seems to be mentioning that at Donald Trump as well without saying Trump's name, right? Yet today, Russia began this day not by honoring those who fell in World War II and not with signals that could help bring the current war, Russia's war against Ukraine, closer to an end. Instead, it began with more completely unjustifiable killings in the Sumy region. A Russian drone killed a child, a grandmother, and a man. The mother and two other children from the same family were wounded. Their home was destroyed, an ordinary home, not a military target whatsoever. In Zaporizhia, 2 people were killed overnight by Russian strikes, and 7 others were injured tragically. The Odessa region has also seen lives lost. Strikes were carried out against the Kherson, Donetsk, and Kharkiv regions. Once again, Russia-targeted energy infrastructure in the Chernihiv region. The Russian war is no justifiable cause, Zelenskyy writes. Putin was driven by exactly the same motives as the aggressors who came before him. He shows the same contempt for human life. He is just as delusional about this absurd empire of his that nobody needs. This war must be brought to an end. It has been taking people's lives for nearly 5 years now, Zelenskyy writes. The full-scale war has already lasted longer than World War I. Perhaps Russia wants to wait until it's lasted longer than World War II as well, but the world certainly does not want that, and it certainly has the power to prevent it. There must be pressure on Putin, pressure on Russia, so that all of this ends in a dignified peace with real guaranteed protection for human life. Ukraine has put forward every proposal needed for diplomacy, though our collective pressure on the aggressor Through our collective pressure on the aggressor, we must bring Russia to a point where it has no option left but diplomacy and ending the war. Thank you to everyone helping us defend Ukraine. Thank you to everyone helping protect human life. Then Zelenskyy talks about potentially strikes in Belarus after Belarus has been used as a launch point for some of the Russian strikes against Ukraine. Here's what Zelenskyy writes. Before taking any public action, I take behind-the-scenes steps forward toward de-escalation at the intelligence and military levels. Belarus received a message, stop helping the Russians. The issue with the relay stations has been ongoing for a long time. It has resulted in casualties solely on the Ukrainian side. They are technically coordinating this and helping Russian and Iranian drones strike Ukrainians with greater precision. Lukashenko received this information, and he must demonstrate de-escalation with more than just words. I'm sorry. He can keep his apology for himself. It has meant nothing since the first day of the war. Step one is to end all technical support. A relay station constitutes direct support. Turn it off, remove it, and show us that it has been removed. Since this message was conveyed to them repeatedly, we have now reached the stage of issuing a public signal. If he does not remove it, we will remove everything ourselves. Similarly, we're sending a message. Please stop supplying fuel to the Russian army. There are no threats here. We're simply saying that we see what's happening. The first steps are always behind the scenes, but the next steps are different. That's more coming out from Zelenskyy right there. Lastly, I want to share with you this other video inside Crimea of a Russian trying to leave, but unable to do so. And you can, I'll play it in Russian, but you can hear, her frustration at everything that's going on. Here's what she has to say. Let's play it.
Ехали на вокзал. Это не вокзал. Это вообще не вокзал. Мы непонятно где стоим, в камнях чисто. Это просто трэш. Боже, почему я здесь?
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think about all of this. Now, leave a comment, hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. I just want you to see this footage that you're probably not seeing many other places. Hit subscribe, help us get to 7 million. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.